Increasingly, people troubled with back pain who have been offered spinal fusion have been asking me if spinal disc replacement is a better option for them. My name's Anthony Ghosh, I'm a consultant spinal neurosurgeon, and in this video I'm going to explain the difference and when these different procedures can be used. Firstly, let's explain spinal fusion and when it's used. It's used to treat back pain if that is caused by instability of the spine, as demonstrated on this x-ray here, where one bone has physically slipped forward on the one beneath it, or sometimes if that has threatened any nerves that control the movement of your legs and the sensation of your legs. So as we can see on this spine here, on the image on the right, a construct of screws and two rods, as well as a device in the middle, in between the two bones, called a cage, allows the segment to fuse together, stabilizing it. And that can be helpful in treating back pain or any nerve entrapment. One of the problems people worry about, though, is that it immobilizes this segment, but actually immobilizing a single segment of the spine doesn't really create a lot of stiffness. You've got multiple segments of your spine that can move and ultimately make up for that. And we even do this procedure on some highly professional sportsmen or athletes. Another indication is if we have proven that the back pain is caused by inflammatory changes around the disc in the bones adjacent to it, as shown here, but not necessarily instability. So in this patient, the alignment is well maintained, but there are some inflammatory changes in the bone. Now, we do sometimes see this in people without back pain, so we have to be very careful in making this diagnosis. But again, if we can prove that physiotherapy and other treatments have failed, then yes, fusing the segment, joining it together can also help. With regards to your neck, the cervical spine, if there is a slipped disc compressing, say, the spinal cord or a nerve, it's often difficult to access the disc from the back of the spine, unlike in the lumbar spine, because of this structure here, this grey thing called the spinal cord. So often with surgery to protect the spinal cord, we have to come in from the front of the neck and remove this disc. And again, if we take the disc out, in its place we put a cage with the markers demonstrated here, again allowing the bone above and the bone below to fuse up. Whilst spinal fusion is quite effective, one of the concerns is if we fuse a single segment and then take out the movement of that segment, the segment above and below often have to make up for the lack of movement beneath. Each spinal vertebrae is joined together by the disc space at the front, and here the facet joints at the back. And what we have seen over the years is that when we fuse a segment, you can get an acceleration of wear and tear or degenerative change in the levels above and below. This has led to the development of motion preservation surgery, and in this case, disc replacement. So if we look at the cervical spine here, where this type of surgery is a little more established, instead of the segment being fused when the disc is taken out, a device is put in, allowing a little bit of motion between these two bones. This can help prevent symptomatic problems at the levels above below, and studies have shown reasonably good results, but there is a slightly higher complication rate with this and reoperation rate. That is why careful patient selection is paramount. We have to examine the facet joints here at the back of the spine and ensure they're not particularly worn or degenerative, because if we continue to allow motion of these joints when we operate, that can actually create ongoing neck pain. So in my practice, if the disease is at a single level in the cervical spine, the neck region, I usually just fuse the segment. Loss of motion in one segment alone doesn't really cause a lot of stiffness in the neck that is ongoing. And then with careful rehabilitation and exercise therapy, we can actually help prevent adjacent segment disease. If there are two levels requiring surgery, then sometimes I may offer a disc replacement of one level and then fuse the other segment. That way there is still some motion preservation. Unfortunately, results in the lumbar spine have been less convincing, and that's often because whilst we replace the disc and allow some motion, The facet joints here at the back of the spine experience a lot more pain, and this seems to be a lot worse in the lumbar region, where we see a lot more facet joint degeneration and root enlargement of these. So it's quite rare that you get a very, very worn disc with very little or no facet joint wear and tear. However, there are some newer devices that are being used in clinical trials at present. One I'm particularly excited about is this one here, where the disc is replaced but also the facet joint is removed, and this construct here basically carries out the function of both. So by removing the facet joint, you eliminate the problem of facet joint pain as well as the problem with the inflammation or degenerative change around the disc. Usually the indication for spinal surgery is to protect nerves, so to alleviate pain radiating down the legs if it's in the lumbar spine, or pain going down the arms if it's in the cervical spine, the neck region, or to preserve the function of your arms and legs. In terms of back pain or neck pain, there are very few indications for this where surgery can be helpful. So if surgery is required, should we be carrying out disc replacement? There are some indications in the cervical region in the neck, which I've discussed, but it depends on each patient, a good review of their scans, and how the symptoms fit. With regards to the lumbar spine, the results are less clear, but I will be watching the development of these new devices. I really hope you found this video helpful. If so, please click that like button and do subscribe to the channel. Also visit me at spinemdt.com. Thank you very much for watching.